SNL analysis, SNL analysis. So today I'm going to talk about episode 1 in season 42 of Saturday Night Live. Who is the host? Margot Robbie. Who is the musical guest? The Weeknd. I do not review the musical guest because I usually don't even watch them. Sorry. But that's how it goes. So the opening, let's start it from the beginning. The political element. The opening skit. Alec Baldwin and Kate McKinnon knocked it out of the park. What I love about Alec Baldwin's interpretation of Donald Trump and the delivery of the dialogue and how he delivered it and the jokes that were intermingled between. It was just complete mastery, complete, very beautiful. Kate McKinnon, of course, her facial expressions, just the whole situation, allowing it to unravel. It was just very beautiful, very, very, very funny. Great job. For Che, who did, I forget the name of the guy who was mediating the event. Pretty good job, playing that particular character. But of course, it was mostly Alec Baldwin and Kate McKinnon who held her out in this hilarious skit. Then we go into, so I give it a 10. Absolute 10. Great job. Then we go into the monologue. Oh, it's 1 through 10, by the way. The rating is 1 through 10. And depends on how many skits. I break it down and I'll give you a percentage. Then we've got the monologue. I was right from the get-go. I was very distracted by Margot Robbie's weed dress. Now, whether you agree or whether you disagree on medicinal marijuana or recreational marijuana, the plants were clearly on her dress, and I think that is a statement that an actor is making about their their taste, which is totally cool, But then address it in your monologue because it's almost like the equivalent of wearing a flag. That's equivalent to wearing a flag. So it's like, why are you wearing a flag? It just seems kind of off. So that's where I was kind of thrown off completely. And a lot of the jokes did not get delivered as much as perhaps they would be because I'm thinking to myself, wait, so does that mean that Margot Robbie, does she? And if she does, what does she? Is she an edible? Or, those are the questions that were placed in my mind while I was watching Saturday Night Live. And that's a different conversation. Right now I'm focusing on the monologue. I should be focusing on the jokes because that even particular joke is not being addressed. So that's why I gave it a 7. Yeah, that's why I get it a 7. The new people on Saturday Night Live are Mikey Day, Alex Moffat, and Melissa Villaseñor. I think that Melissa Villaseñor was the shining element in the whole situation, and I'll talk about that later because of her imitation of Sarah Silverman. She was allowed to do an imitation, so that was really funny. And her imitation was the funniest, and her imitation was the most off the wall. So that's how she was able to kind of get herself, in there. Then we've got the sinkhole. Sinkhole. Keenan was hilarious. The premise was this attractive woman is with this nerdy man, and why is she with this nerdy man? What I loved about the element is that Cicely was on track about the sinkhole. So building the different levels of diversity and the colorfulness of the skit was what made it even more funny. So I gave it a 9. Then we've got the librarian. The librarian was hilarious on so many levels. It was just oh my lord, like what is happening? So I gave it a 10, an absolute 10. Then we've got Family Feud. Kate McKinnon. If you watch this episode, Kate McKinnon was the meat and potatoes of the particular episode, and she is so amazing that a lot of things are headed in. I don't know whether she's the head writer or what the situation is, but she's definitely in a lot of these skits, or this particular episode. Then you've got Chris Christie, Ivanka Trump, Vladimir Putin, Lin-Manuel, and Sarah Silverman. So it was pretty funny. I gave it an 8. Why did I give it an 8? Because the Ivanka imitation was okay. It started off okay. And the reveal with the brothers was just hilarious and really, 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 really funny. And the Vladimir was with the shirtless reveal. It was okay. And Lin-Manuel was okay. it didn't really take me completely there. I can't really put a word to it, so that's why I gave it an 8. Even though Keenan was, of course, steering the ship, and he was really, really funny about it. So we've got that. Then we've got Weekend Update. The Weekend Update was very funny. I gave them an 8. I thought they were really, really good. There were some jokes, there were some laughs. I was like, wait, what did they say? But for the most part, they got political a little bit, which is good, but just shorten that and tighten it up. Because, a lot of it kind of lagged a little bit. It's like, wait, I'm confused. Am I waiting for a joke, or are you going to give me a political message? And it's like, either do one or the other. Uh, Weekend, so don't stay in the middle. So, or at least that's my opinion. That's what I felt, because then it kind of leaves you like, where am I? It was funny. So I gave them an 8. Kathy Ann was a pretty funny. It was an 8. Undecided voted. She was very, very funny. Cecily Strong is hilarious. The Big Tony. I've seen that character before, and it got a little bit repetitive. The Mofongo and Malamo and Ablano and Animo, and it got a little bit repetitive. But then it picks up with the Hep C and the branding and whatnot, and so that it was pretty funny. So I gave them an 8. So overall, they got an overall 8. Hunch a Bunch, I gave them a 7, and the reason why is because they started off with a strong joke, and when Margot Robbie comes in and she says something, but it also kind of like it took a while for it to kind of mature itself. And some of the jokes could have been just cinched more, just tighter. I think that it lagged when the mask and whether revealing who was it, what was the mask, and it was like, no, it's just, it just, all right. So it was a 7. Then if they had added like a dog, like a Scooby dog, like the same concepts of diversity, giving people something different, like the Cecily Strong character who was on track with that's what made that particular skit, like, it just made it more believable, believable. The Melania moments, I gave them a 2. Yeah, the Melania moments, I gave it a 2 because I thought it was mean spirited. I thought that we talk about, these elements of, uh, what is it? The other woman, Rosie O'Donnell. We're talking about how it's mean to talk about Rosie O'Donnell, but yeah, we have this ad where basically it's like, how dumb is Melania Trump? And I just thought it felt mean spirited. It also reminded me of Jack Handy, and it was like a poor version of Jack Handy. So to me, it felt thrown in there. So I gave it a 2. Yeah, I gave it a 2. I know that's would have weighed a lot of it down in the overall score. And then we've got the women to the round table. Kay McKinnon, of course, held it up. She did a really great job. Margot Robbie cracks up throughout most of it, throughout some of it. But Kate McKinnon alone was the meat and bones. And I think, again, giving it a different diversity, giving it something more, just a little bit more meat and bones. What I thought was interesting with the whole Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie having Marion Cotillard in there, that particular character, and just having that spin, and what would that do for the audience, and what would she say, and what would that relationship be, or I don't know, maybe having Angelina Jolie, and that's that would be, I don't know, that particular imitation, because I know that Cecily has done Angelina Jolie in the past. But is that too sensitive? I don't know. Is it too early? Then we've got Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot. So I gave them an 8. Mr. Robot was pretty funny. I think that it could have been funnier. It's also a digital short, so I think that there's a lot of things that just could have been tightened up a lot more. There was that joke where Margot Robbie was in there, and it just kind of didn't go anywhere, where she was playing that girl character, and it just didn't pick up. So I gave them a 7, even though it was really important to me, because I love Leslie Jones, and it dealt with the situation with what happened with her, and it really impacted. Like, I was just like, you don't do that to Leslie. I think that it didn't go as far as it could have, and it could have been better. So I gave them a 7. So overall score was a 68 out of 100. Yeah, overall score was a 68 out of 100. Do I want Margot Robbie to come back? Yes, I would love to have Margot Robbie to come back. I think she did a pretty good job. I think that a lot of it was in the lack of writing, and was the lack of weaving and just tightening things up again, just tightening stuff up. And that's what I think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is Saturday Night Live headed off to a great start with a 68? I don't know, but I'm going to be watching it next week because I got to tell you about what's going on. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful year.